welcome back. We are continuing the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles 2 Resolve. I'm excited to meet my Herlock again. Oh, nope. There we go. Susato-san.
Standing here in the bright sunshine, looking out over the vast ocean. Those days in London seem like a dream, but I do miss my time in England's vast capital. You know, he's flourished into a truly wonderful lawyer. I've no doubt that at this very moment, he's fighting some noble cause in court. Forgive me for taking so long to come to visit you. My life has been such a whirlwind since I returned.
Did her dad die?
And no
He was sick, right?
predicted.
It's been like 2 months, I think, since I played the last one.
Just 2 months after arriving home.
I find myself faced with another awful crime. Hey! Okay, good, she's back. Yeah, there are so many loose ends in the first game. I really wanna fill them in.
Tomorrow, I shall be standing in court. For the only time in my life. As a lawyer.
Ooh. Do we get to play her for chapter 1? Oh!
So please, I ask for your
Wait, is the
guidance.
swan dead?
Kazuma-sama.
Oh, it's Kazuma's grave. So he's dead. I mean, I know he's dead, but... I mean, I think he's dead. They were kind of hinting he wasn't quite dead. Episode 1, The Adventure of the Blossoming Attorney. Here I am again after 9 months. The Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. I feel so nervous, but I must steel my nerves and find a way to compose myself. Hey, your dad's alive! Hey, Mikotaba. Ah, good, you're here. It doesn't do for a lawyer to be late. Yes, good morning, sir. I hardly recognize you. You cut a fine figure, Counsel. But you look as white as a sheet, and those wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Oh dear. The truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous, I feel utterly nauseated. I also wish that I'd never been born, Father. Goodness, not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say. Aww. Yusha Mikotoba, professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University. A man who earlier in his life traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advances in forensic medical science. And of course, my brilliant father. Excuse me. Oh, sorry, you don't have that voice. Would I be correct in thinking that you're to be my lawyer in court today? Oh, yes, that's right, Miss. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. It's a complete fabrication, this whole thing. Ray Membami. Born the same year as I, and my greatest friend. Oh no, wait, uh-oh. Hey, Susato, that didn't end with a Kazuma in the same situation here. Though unusual for a woman of our time, she works at the University Research Laboratory helping my father. And sadly, she's a defendant in today's trial. Accused of committing a truly awful murder. Are you feeling alright? Since we started talking, you seem, well, to become a little flushed. Oh, it's just that... You look so gallant and dashing. Sorry? When I fall under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful. Oh, you like Susato-san. Oh goodness, I don't think she knows. She hasn't realized who I am. It would seem our little plan for this trial is going to work.
Oh? What do you mean, Professor Mikotaba?
If even your best friend can't see through the disguise, I think we can relax.
Disguise?
Yeah. Oh, Susato's, okay. Oh, makes sense. So Susato can't be a lawyer because of the time period. So this is like, look, young me. I love Oranhost High School. I love, She's the Man with Amanda Bynes. I love Hanakimi. This is my favorite trope, y'all. So, I need okay, I guess my voice works for a female lower tone voice, sure. Yes, I've never tried dressing this way before, of course, so I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. But this does make me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father.
Father?
What? Is that you, Susato? I want to see me. I'm so sorry I didn't say something sooner, Ray.
No! What are you doing? What's going on? What?
That varsity uniform, the varsity cap, the varsity cape, that varsity badge.
Look at you. You look all for the world just like a student of the Imperial University of male students.
I'm so glad you think so. It means all my preparations have been worthwhile. I woke up at 4 this morning to make a start.
But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that?
Well, you see, it was the only way. The only way she would be permitted into the Supreme Court to take her defense in this trial.
My defense?
I want to see me! Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated at having been born in this body. Courts in Japan are barred to women. We're not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom. Despite the fact that the laws of the land apply to all people, male and female alike.
But women are forbidden.
Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door, so I can act as your lawyer.
Oh, Susato? You'd go to such lengths for me?
Of course, you're my greatest friend. I just worry that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve.
Oh no, I have complete faith in you.
Ray.
It's so strange, though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already. And yet just because you're a woman. What a wretched reason. I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing.
Ray? Please don't look at me like that with those flushed cheeks and doting eyes. No, do, it's okay. This is cute.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just... You really do look so dashing.
Yeah, you mentioned that. You should be pleased. It means you look convincing as a man. I'm pleased, I think. It's really helped to bolster my confidence, I guess. Ray, you're managing to put on a brave face in all this, but I can see through it. I've noticed how your shoulders are slumped and how you're trembling ever so slightly.
Susato, you believe in me, right?
I didn't do it.
I couldn't have. I mean, murder?
Of course. You've nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Yes, it is. Perfectly clean.
I have absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence, which is why I'll stand by you until a bitter end in this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be by your side. Because that's what it means to be a defense lawyer.
That means so much to me, Susato-san.
Defendant, counsel, court is about to begin. Let's go! You should go in at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty.
Oh. Stand aside!
I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast. Well, Susato, you certainly surprised your father. Going to such lengths to be admitted into the courtroom, and with no prior experience of being a lawyer. There was simply no other way. That's all there is to it. But, Father, you haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming that Ray doesn't know how it came to this?
Yes, quite right. I kept that information from her. It would only worry her if she found out that no other lawyer would agree to take her case. I didn't want to burden her with that.
And is it true? The reason why every other lawyer is refusing to... Is it Van Zeek's? I know it's not, but it'd be really funny if it is. Is it really because of who the victim was?
We should be making a move now. As you know, law isn't my field, but I'll do what I can to support my student.
Thank you, Father. I'm Susato Mikotova, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of the law on a study trip to Great Britain. But 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan. Look at the cutie baby! Fine. How many times have I wished that he were here, I wonder? Still, I have no choice now but to steel myself for the trial ahead. Wish me luck, Naruhodo-san. He's dressed like Herlock. Let's do this.
Oh, I'm sorry, was that us? We were so cute. The court is now in session to hear the trial of Rei Membami.
The prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency.
You're so cute. I mean, strong and manly.
Defense, counsel, are you ready?
Yes, Your Excellency, we are ready. Ready?
Ah, yes, counsel. According to your registration details, your name is, Ryotaro Naruhodo, is that correct?
We took his last name? Or surname? Sorry?
Oh yes, I had to come up with a suitable male name for you in this little venture. So I'm afraid to say I simply put down the first name that sprung to mind. Well, counsel?
Yeah, that's right, that's me.
Yes, I am Ryotaro, he who has vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan. Ah. It seems Ryotaro may need to consider how to better to uphold his manly act first and not overdo it. And those wild, wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Just relax and listen.
Naruhodo?
A fresh face in this courtroom, if I'm not mistaken. But the name Naruhodo, would that perchance be...
You may be thinking of Ryunosuke Naruhodo, currently in Britain as part of a study program. That is, his cousin.
His cousin!
That's right. Ryotaro here has been studying in the provinces, but was called to the capital for this trial. I assure you in matters of the law, his knowledge rivals that of any of Tokyo's preeminent lawyers.
Any of them! What a pitiful situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accused has to call in a country boy. How dare you?
Susato, which I shouldn't be saying, is every bit as gallant and dashing as any of your Tokyo attorneys. I won't have you making fun of her.
Her?
Oh, Please be careful, Ray.
What an unrefined tomboy we have here. But I wonder, is your gallant and dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? His wide skittish eyes very much suggest he is not.
I'm so nervous. Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand what Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, eyes won't flit.
The case to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance to our national interests. In fact, it'd be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may very well affect the very future of our empire.
Just like that trial 9 months ago. And yet, for proceedings of such importance, We have this unknown yokel by the dock. Dear me.
Perhaps it'd be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense, to determine whether you're sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom. 9 months ago, when a certain other Naruhodo stood where you're standing now, the same judge tested him as well. And even though he was just a student at the time, not even of law, he passed the test with flying colors. For a trained and experienced judicial assistant such as yourself, this will be easy. So, counsel, do you consent to answering some questions?
Alright, it's time to prove myself. Yes, Your Excellency. Yes, Your Excellency. But make them simple, please.
Very well. To start with, you will state the name of the victim.
The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Miss Giselle Brett. Giselle Brett?
A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure. Correct. And being a member of the Empire's judiciary, you will be well aware of the significance of that name. So, let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain. Why then is her name indelibly associated with our own Empire's judicial history?
Giselle Brett. Behind the woman's student persona was the face of
Queen Victoria.
Yes!
9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University was killed, and the culprit was Giselle Brett.
Yes, she was a killer. At the time, our country had just signed a new treaty with the Empire of Great Britain. And it was in the midst of this delicate diplomatic situation that the incident occurred. An Englishman, Dr. John H. Wilson, which we still gotta tell his daughter that he's dead, was shot dead. I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor Mikotoba? Yes, I was indebted to the man. He'd been my mentor when I went to London to study forensics medicine. Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter the government wished to resolve rapidly. Indeed it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court. A student was arrested of suspicion of murder, a second-year English language student by the name of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. With the help of his best friend, a student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense and exposed the despicable crime committed by Miss Giselle Brett. Miss Brett eventually admitted to her crime. However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's life, she gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached a conclusion.
Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its consular jurisdiction into play. We were unable to sentence Miss Brett according to our empire's laws. It was decided that she would be removed to Shanghai, China instead.
Why Shanghai?
There's a British consular court there. Correct. I oversaw the negotiations personally. The date of her transfer to Shanghai was finally settled upon only last week. All that remained of our empire's obligations was to see the woman safely on board a steamship.
And yet, the very day before her departure, the Englishwoman was killed.
Only the day before.
That will do. I'm satisfied with that the counsel for the defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant.
Oh. Thank you, Your Excellency. Okay, first hurdle done.
Now, a summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Alchi?
As is your wish, Your Excellency. The repugnant crime took place on the 11th of August in broad daylight.
On a beach?
On the outskirts of the imperial capital under a bright blue sky, at a secluded bathing spot by the sea. The incident occurred inside a small beach hut, erected for bathers to rest or change their clothes.
She is gripping that pen like immensely.
The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung. An injury which proved fatal.
But the swan looks dead too, which is what I'm concerned about, really.
There were two persons alone together in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett in her bathing attire.
Wait, I could have sworn we just saw a jacket, didn't we?
And the accused, Ray Mimbami. Accordingly, there can be no doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when we consider she had a powerful motive. The police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady.
I really like doing his voice. Well, that extraordinary description of events leaves me somewhat lost for words, I must say.
That's certainly true. The prosecution summary
was full of words that raise an awful lot of questions.
As a lawyer,
I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel on what he said about the powerful motive.
You're clearly exaggerating. Powerful motive is a blatant overstatement. Is a yokel boy using long words he doesn't fully understand?
I beg your pardon?
No matter. Let us put this to the accused, shall we? Mimbami-san, you are a research assistant at the Imperial Yume University, I believe.
Oh, okay, that's what you meant.
Yes, I am. I'm working with Professor Mikatoba in his laboratory at the moment.
I can confirm that. The defendant is an excellent assistant with a strong sense of responsibility.
Fascinating to hear. Now another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikatoba, whose research were you assisting then?
Oh, I was studying under Dr. John H. Wilson.
Dr. Wilson? The visiting English professor who was murdered by Miss Brett 9 months ago.
Well, heck. The accused has a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson. Is that not true?
Yes. Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man.
Interesting. Then tell the court what deep-seated feelings you had toward the Englishwoman who killed him.
Well, obviously I was filled with a hatred for what she'd done. A powerful hatred. Don't say powerful. Just general hatred's fine. Oh, no, Ray. Be careful what you're saying. Ah!
The motive was revenge. Plain and simple, Your Excellency.
Well, it was clearly a trap all along.
How wicked of him to use Ray's undying respect for her former mentor against her like that. I must find out more details, and something we can use to bolster our defense. As a lawyer...
Oh, okay,
bathing spot? If I may, Prosecutor Ouchie.
What do you want, you fresh-faced young yokel student?
I wonder, could you explain, please? You mentioned a bathing spot.
My apologies. Clearly, my modernity has confused the poor country bumpkin's simple mind. Bathing spots are the very latest trend in health practices from the West. We are told that bathing in the water of the ocean is curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skin's...
No, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had, to all intents and purposes, been found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea?
Yeah.
For old time's sake, I believe.
Sorry?
Miss Brett was to depart for Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day at our country's wonderful coast.
So Japan, you're being too polite. Like, chill a little bit.
And the British Embassy put extreme pressure on our government to comply.
Oh, okay.
British people, you're being too polite. Chill a little bit. But on what grounds would we agree to such a request?
Because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. Ouch. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of a known criminal.
Don't look at me, Professor. It was the government who granted permission, not I. In any case, it was decided with a dedicated detective on duty. Nothing could go wrong.
But in fact, the murder took place.
I said don't look at me. It was a young student girl who did it, not I.
What about the detective on set place? No one has proved that yet. I wouldn't provoke the man if you don't need to. Okay. More information. Membami-san.
Yes, what is it? Naruhodo-san?
I'm really starting to wish we made my alias Ryotaro, Susato. Please tell the court why exactly you were present at the bathing spot with the victim in the first place. And why you were alone with her.
Oh, well, no, it's not true. It wasn't like that at all. There were other people present. A detective who was guarding Miss Brett, for starters. I was just asked to accompany Miss Brett as a companion, that's all. But let us be clear. At the moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut. You and no one else. The truth is, there's only one reason why this young woman accompanied Miss Brett on her bathing sojourn. It was the accused's last chance to take the victim's life. No. Because, as we know, the following day would see Miss Brett extradited to the British authorities in Shanghai. And the accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again.
Kindly refrain from conjecture, Counsel. I believe we have a clear picture of the incident now. Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brett managed to avoid incarceration, instead continuing her research work at the university. Obviously, over that period, she and Ray would have encountered each other a number of occasions. Seeing the murder of a mentor for whom she had great respect, enjoying such undeserved liberty. Yes, even if it was only temporary until Miss Brett's extradition to Shanghai, you can hardly blame Ray for her feelings of anger and resentment. Poor Ray.
Your Excellency, if you'd be so kind as to peruse this exhibit. A photographic print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident.
Okay. Yes. I'm like studying it before, like, yeah, whatever, let me study. Yes, thank you, Counsel. A tragic image.
As you can clearly see, there is nowhere within the hut that anyone else could have hidden.
Again, her dress. The court will accept this photographic print as evidence.
Ta-da!
As I understand it then, the victim and the defendant were alone inside the beach hut at the time. This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger of guilt points firmly at the defendant.
Well, Your Excellency, naturally the prosecution has much more to its case. Huh? We intend to prove the accused's appalling actions beyond all possible contention. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses to the crime, which wouldn't happen if no one could see anything but whatever, and the damning evidence.
Witnesses? But who?
One of whom, I might add, is a highly respected police detective.
Oh, is it what's his face again?
I assure you, the testimony of these witnesses will leave no room for doubt.
Very well then, Counsel, bring forth your witnesses.
I, Takasuji Aochi, have been waiting for this moment.
Sorry?
Oh yes, I haven't forgotten. That trial 9 months ago here in this very courthouse? Well, that irreverent little student boy utterly humiliated me. strike the head of the samurai whose top knot has been cut, and the bell of cultural enlightenment tolls. Yes, on that fateful day, my former self died.
The start of your own mini Meiji revolution? Are you modernizing as well, Council?
Silence! Since I swore revenge back then, there has been a minor miracle atop my head. Observe the ouchie growth. You see this seed of hope sprouting forth from my barren expanse of my crown?
I think that tiny growth is trying to tell me something. I'm afraid I can't really see where's the hope exactly.
I said silence! Today, I face another yokel student of the Naruhodo clan. Well, I will vanquish you! And my victory will be fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You have been warned. With that, the prosecution calls the witnesses to the stand.
It looks like the stakes are high on both sides in this trial. The prosecution and defense each have much to lose.
A haircut is hardly comparable to Ray's life.
Yeah, Dad. Get together, Dad. Jeez, Dad. Hey, it's you! Oh my god, it's both of you.
Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court.
That being said, you look adorable. Chief Inspector Satoru Hasanaga, Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously, so I can go undetected.
And I am, well, the next big thing in books. An author renowned throughout the capital. In fact, yes. Soon to be sold out. The satirical I Am a Cat. A sensational success by Soseki Natsume.
Oh my goodness.
Struggling student from the provinces, please. You needn't be in awe of me.
I needn't?
It's only natural you'll feel nervous in my presence. But all of you, please relax. Call me Soseki, even.
Sure. What on earth is Soseki-san doing here?
Tread carefully, Susato. The other fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? If he exposes you for who you really are, this will be over before it's begun.
Yeah, of course, I know. I presume Soseki-san won't have forgotten about me. I certainly won't have never forgotten about him. Although, he does seem to have changed somewhat in the last 6 months that I last saw him. And as for Inspector Hosonaga, that amazing outfit is, hard to believe. Do I have something on my face? Well, your glasses for one. Although they don't seem to be helping you see anything. Thank goodness he hasn't recognized me either.
Ah, I suppose it's this disguise, isn't it?
I'm a cute little turtle.
I thought that appearing here in clothes I was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony. It is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly.
Well, I can appreciate why an Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present. But what business did a writer such as yourself have being at the scene, Soseki-san?
Ah, well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture. On the morning of the incident, in the Imperial Yume University's Grand Lecture Hall, no less.
At Yume University?
And after the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the Medical Science Department. The professor over there, in fact.
With Professor Mikataba.
Yes, that is correct. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. I swear, if you turn to be the murderer, Dad, and you get murdered because of me, I'm going to be very upset. You know this. They wanted some story or other about the 2 former students who studied in Great Britain.
Of course, being a renowned author, the press never leaves me alone. They secretly spy, snapshot, scribble stories, and compromise privacy. As you can see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read at your leisure, my provincial struggling student friend. I have plenty of copies.
Thank you very much. He practically threw that paper at me.
Okay, well, we're definitely going to go investigate that.
Anyway, following my interview with the professor, the lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast, that were her words.
As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory, under strict surveillance, of course.
At which utterance the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance. And the response was, permit Miss Brett to go as long as the detective accompanies her. That detective I am at liberty to divulge was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Hasanaga. Thereby, the entire party departed cordially for the seaside, it seems. It was extremely challenging to clear all of the members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. Oh, you're still dying. But, fortunately, I'm at peak physical fitness at the moment, so... You're still dying. I was able to carry out my duty flawlessly. Oh, my! Inspector, you... Well, you have something in your face right now. Oh, look at his little towels, beats, little turtles. How unsightly. I do apologize. Does that mean you went to the beach too, Father? No. Oh, thank goodness. Fortunately, I had work to finish off. But unfortunately, of course, it meant that, as my assistant, Ray was invited to take my place. Well, of course. Being such a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation. But if only I had, I'd never seen that awful sight. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret. Very well. I must now ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account of all that you witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast. Of course, Your Excellency. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret, I am. He's like, not again. On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in this disguise. I just managed to catch that crab when I suddenly heard a caterwaul from behind me. I ran to the beachhead at once, where I found the pair in question. Yes! The young girl was astride the Englishwoman, dagger in hand, and she was stabbed wildly. I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me that she'd stabbed the victim multiple times, which they said single, so no. Alrighty, yay! We found the wrong things. Indeed, it does appear from this testimony that both witnesses here present saw it. The very moment of the heinous crime. Huh? Now, if you recall, I promised evidence as well. What phrase did I use again? Oh yes, that was it. Damning evidence. What have you here, Counsel? A so-called fountain pen it is? Is it really a knife and she stabbed herself in the stomach? Correct, Your Excellency. I found it at the scene whilst examining the body. It appears in her dying moments with her final ounce of strength. The victim clutched a piece of evidence that would positively identify her killer. Huh? Your Excellency, if you would cast your eyes over to the photographic print of the crime scene once more. Oh, goodness me. Okay, but you would think her hand would be holding this wine bottle glass? Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberately there in her hand. That's right, the fountain pen. And if you so kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency. Is it a knife? Oh, the owner's initials have been engraved in the ebonite barrel. R.M. Ray Membami. Or is it W... Wait. I guess it's changed her out, so I'm like, well, it wouldn't be in English. The initials of the defendant. No. This fountain pen will be admitted immediately as critical evidence. Okay, yeah, we're gonna go investigate, open it, and find a knife in there. I don't believe it's a pen. Yeah, so have I admitted anything? Yeah, your face. Wait, I can't examine things yet? I can't examine that? Okay, so extreme meiosis, which is pupil constriction, was observed in the victim in both eyes. A single deep stab wound from behind, piercing a lung and resulting in a fatal hemorrhage. Death that occurred within minutes. Decisive testimony and damning evidence. There's a bright blue sky outside the courthouse today. Perfect weather to ascribe guilt, I feel.
No. I don't understand. The prosecutor outed you of 9 months ago had none of this man's poise. Counsel for the defense, you may begin your cross-examination. Naruhodo-san.
Naruhodo? That means... Oh, yes, me.
Is there another Naruhodo in my courtroom?
Actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom.
Cousin Ryutaro, pull yourself together, please.
Alright. I've seen this countless of times as a judicial assistant. From inconsistencies in the witnesses' testimonies to prove that they're lying somehow. That's all there is to it. That's how a real lawyer would handle a cross-examination. So let's see what I can do. And find out that these boys are lying. Alright. Special assignment. Sounds good. Catch that crab and suddenly caught a wall from behind me. Ran to the beachhead at once, found the pair in question. The young girl struck the Englishwoman, dagger in hand, she stabbed wildly.
What?
Stabbed wildly? You actually saw her do it? Oh, indeed. A terrible spectre, a terrapin spectre, a bloody torrent, and others torment. Eh. Every sight and every sound is still carved in my melancholy memory. That was my impression, at least, as a future literary sensation.
Counsel, what on earth was that shrill, effeminate scream?
Oh, no, what are you insinuating? I'm as manly a Japanese man as you. I wonder if I might have interjected here, Saseki-san. Something you said is troubling me. That was my impression were your words just now, I believe. Oh, so do you mean to say you're not confident that you really just see what you described?
No, yes, I know what I saw. My ears didn't deceive me when I heard that scream, hence my eyes didn't deceive me either. I could describe everything I saw vividly. I could publish it all in tomorrow's newspaper serial.
Then please do, you liar.
That sounds as though the next installment of I Am a Cat may take a macabre turn.
I think this is a fool's errand. The more you press your author friend on what he saw, the more entrenched he's going to become.
Oh dear, how awkward.
And I'm going to press it first, but we know we can just, evidence that.
She was stabbed multiple times? How can we be sure of that?
Very simply, the blood on the blade.
The blood?
When I entered the hut, I saw the defendant holding the blade raised up in the air.
Yes, that's right, I saw it too!
Oh.
And I know that there's blood on the blade already at that point. In other words, the victim had already been stabbed at least once by the time I arrived at the scene.
Yes, that's right! I saw it too!
And the victim was already holding the defense fountain pen in her hand, too. All of which means I can be sure the victim did not die instantly.
Yes, right! I saw it too! Maybe a year in London was too much for him. He sounds like he's forgotten how to speak Japanese.
The logic of your argument is sound, at least. Well, as I said, it is my guiding principle to carry out all the testimonies flawlessly.
Perhaps it should have been your guiding principle to protect the victim flawlessly. That's just my personal opinion, of course.
Yeah, ouch. Yeah, wait, he's dying already, Susato-san, please. Counsel, please refrain from mocking the witness. No, it was not said multiple times. Single wound. Present.
Hey, my first objection! With that accusatory cry that just welled up from deep inside me, I think I finally understand. Every time Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san have stood here at this bench, the stakes have been very, very high indeed.
What's the meaning of that menacing pose, Counsel?
I'd like the witness to clarify something for me. Who?
What? Where? What? How?
No, not you, Sasaki-san. This query is directed at Inspector Hosonaga.
At me?
In your statement just now, you said that the victim was stabbed multiple times.
Yes, that's correct. As I said when I entered the hut, the defendant was already standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand, like a murderous demon.
And yet, that cannot be true.
What?
Get to the point, please, counsel.
In the post-mortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed one time only.
Ah.
Yes. In other words, Inspector Hosanaga's testimony is clearly flawed.
Ugh.
And Sasaki-san?
Me?
You claim to have seen Minbami-san in the throes of stabbing the victim.
Yeah, I did. Wildly.
But both of you and the inspector confirmed the same points. That there was already blood on the knife that you saw the defendant holding.
Yes, and?
It's quite simple. We know the murder weapon was used to stab the victim only once. Therefore, there's no way there could have been blood on the knife if that single stabbing hadn't already occurred.
True.
Then what exactly is your contention, counsel? Are you ever going to tell us?
Yes, Your Excellency. There's only one logical conclusion. What Sasaki-san in fact saw was not the moment that the defendant stabbed the victim at all, but the moment that the defendant in fact withdrew the blade from the victim's body.
That can't be.
Excellent work, Susato. Was she saying my name, you know, constantly in court next to the judge? Like, they can hear us. You exploded them with that objection, and then proceeded to pull them apart systematically.
Whoa, this takes me back. Huh? Yeah, so it seems I remember your cousin stage a scene much like this in that trial 9 months ago. A half-witted child with a half-baked objection attempting to steal the show.
You're right. There were certain similarities. Except that so-called half-witted child managed to outwit the prosecution, who has only half a head of hair.
Slander! My head is adequately dressed! Well, in any case, all this talk of stabbing and withdrawing and multiple wounds, it makes not a jot of difference. Huh? Why not? Engage your brain, young man. When the accused first plunged the deadly weapon into the victim, that was a fatal blow. And it was at that moment, just as she had withdrawn the blade ready for her next strike, that the witnesses saw. The knife was already tainted with blood, because the accused had already stabbed the victim. All you have successfully shown is with your own little display is that the mustache author is prone to moments of extravagance. Yeah?
I'm in agreement with the prosecution. If the defendant was seen wielding the blade at all, that's sufficient grounds for her actions to be viewed with suspicion.
But if she was withdrawing the blade, then we are back where we started. Sorry?
Consider this, young yokel boy. If the student girl's innocent as you claim, then why would she have pulled the blade from the victim? And with a demon's cold-blooded composure, too. The prosecution demands an explanation, and it better be good.
Why did Ray pull out the knife?
Ah, yes. Going for the jugular.
What does father mean by that?
Let the court hear your answer then, counsel.
The truth is, I don't really know. But I have to come up with a plausible reason here, or we don't have a case. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife out of the victim's body was surely so she could stab her again, save her life. According to the post-mortem report, the victim's death was not instant. That's correct. It's thought she would have remained conscious for a short while after sustaining the injury.
Indeed, given the time to take hold of this piece of evidence that clearly indicates her killer.
The point is, being a medical research assistant, Minbami-san was compelled to act when faced with the wounded victim. Instinctively, she pulled the blade out in an attempt to save Miss Britt's life, even though you should not do that. Don't pull things out.
Have the medical professionals do that so they can deal with the internal bleeding and all that jazz. Does no one not believe me?
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? It would seem this is the best we can expect of this young yokel.
Indeed.
Is it just me, or does it suddenly feel much colder in here?
Your Excellency, if I may. Speak, witness. I would like another opportunity to testify. In respect to the slipshod assertion just put forward by the Yokel Defense Council, I mean.
Slipshod? An excellent idea, Inspector. Our young yokel hopeful has a modicum of knowledge when it comes to the law, it seems. But in matters of medicine, he appears to possess not one iota of common sense.
Very well, Inspector. I will permit your request. You will testify again before the court on the subject of the defense's counsel assertion. Yes, sir. I will do so flawlessly.
And after we get this testimony and false it, we will call it a day. Forensic medical primer.
Pulling a blade from a wound without thinking could cause heavy bleeding, yeah. That's basic knowledge that any medical research assistant with an ounce of sense ought to know. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would try to pull the knife from the victim. Let's not forget that the young student did not have a motive for killing the victim. The man the victim had murdered 9 months ago, Dr. Wilson, was the defendant's highly respected mentor. Oh wait, no, hold on, that wasn't anything technically wrong.
Is what you said true, Inspector? Could pulling a knife from a wound really cause the wound to bleed heavily?
Yes. Think of the weapon itself as a stopper to the wound that prevents excessive blood loss. Until a doctor is ready to provide proper treatment, that stopper shouldn't be removed. Wow, that's exactly what I said. I should totally be a doctor. They should totally remake a Trauma Center. Oh, I would totally play Trauma Center on here.
Oh, I see. Well, this is why you yokels should stay on the farm. Even a quack from some obscene mountain village wouldn't have such basic knowledge. Anyone who's ever given something a little poke with a knife and pulled it out again knows it.
Oh, well, I've never stabbed anyone, you see. Or pulled a blade out of a wound, so... Of course you haven't. I didn't bring you up to behave like a bandit. Bandit.
Father, is it true what they're telling me?
Yes, it's a basic remedial knowledge for medics. Ray would have been well aware of it. If she were to claim ignorance of such fundamentals, that would prove fatal in many ways.
But then, why would Ray have done it? Could she have pulled that knife out in full knowledge that it would be fatal for Miss Brett?
I don't know.
Ray never once mentioned anything about the knife to me. It seems almost impossible to believe, but could my friend actually have...
Susato?
Yeah?
Pull yourself together. We mustn't lose sight of why we're here.
Oh, right.
Counsel, it's time for your cross-examination.
Oh, yes, Your Excellency.
However, I must warn you that if your cross-examination fails to identify any issue with established facts, I'll be moving on to my adjudication immediately afterwards.
I understand. Believing in your clients and fighting for their cause until the bitter end. I knew it would be hard, but I had no idea it'd be this hard. Cross-examination.
Okay, so look how he's bleeding. Yeah. That's basic knowledge. Yeah. In other words, there's no reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. The young student did have a motive. Okay, those all seem really true statements. Press that. The defendant had suddenly encountered somebody she knew lying on the ground bleeding to death. The sight could have shocked her delicate sensibilities, causing her to remove the blade inadvertently. I really don't think inadvertently actions can explain this. The woman was a medical research assistant. I can't imagine she'd behave so rationally. Oh, but... Oh... Is that the song? Irrational behavior is a woman's prerogative, ain't it? Oh dear. You've a lot to learn about women. Only a small-minded man could have such bigoted views as Susato-san. How dare you? Oh no. Perhaps letting my male persona take a hold a little too much. Well, have I managed to convey the basics now? I should cover the medical side of the argument.
Hold it!
In that case, there's an obvious explanation here. Which is... clearly, defendant Raymond Bami-san does not possess an ounce of sense. What do you think about that, Professor Mikotaba? I'm not sure you should be labeling your best friend as lacking common sense. Well, I thought that'd be better than labeling her as a murderer. I don't know young people today. If that's friendship, I don't understand it. Careful, counsel. A lack of common sense. Oh my god, are you threatening to, like, beat the shit out of me? Oh dear. That recorded me rather badly. That's life, I'm afraid. A lesson everyone must learn. Oh boy, we are really hecking this up, aren't we? This is hopeless. I can't find a single crack in this testimony anywhere. If Ray knew that withdrawing the knife from the wound would threaten Miss Brett's life even further, I just can't think of any way to explain why she did it. Susato, at times like these, especially when it's important to remember the fundamentals. Huh? Fundamentals? Evidence. Yeah, but I've been through the court record dozens of times already. I think perhaps you're forgetting something, though. You needn't take the evidence at face value. Yes, I can probably check out that pen. Yeah! Okay, okay. Knife. Take it apart. If we take out the pen's lid... Oh. It's just a knife. No, not a knife. It's not a knife. It's a pen. We'll take off this part too, then. Take off all of it. Now let's unscrew the barrel, shall we? Knife. Knife. This must be the little reservoir that holds the ink. Yes, you fill it by drawing ink from the bottle through the nib. Is there something wrong, Father? There's no ink in there. Just that there doesn't actually appear to be any ink in there, that's all. Oh, okay, you're right. It's perfectly empty. Well, it could be on the verge of running out, I suppose. Okay, so we got that. It's a symbol. There's some sort of emblem here, look. But it isn't a Yume University one. It must belong to some other organization, I suppose. A business of some kind. But that would seem to imply that the pen does not in fact belong to Ray. Yeah! The RM initials are very clearly engraved here. And the fact that Miss Brett was clinging to this pen in her dying moments is very clearly a message. To identify her killer? I don't think you may any doubt this is a key piece of evidence in this case. Okay. So I think we're good there. And around? What do we got here in the back? This is a newspaper from Sasaki-san. There's an important article on the back page as well. Exclusive. Deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. From Yume's Medical Research. Father, isn't that your lab? What the? Let me see that. The poison's been stolen? The poison expert probably stole some poison. Who guessed it? It's this morning's paper that Sasaki-san gave us. Are you saying you didn't know? As embarrassing as it is for the head of the laboratory, I didn't. I have not heard such a thing. Where on earth could a reporter have gleaned his information? Come to think of it, there was no article mentioning this story in our paper this morning, was there? It's a highly toxic poison we've been working with on this. It's a highly toxic poison we've been working on in the strictest confidence. I'd put Ray in charge of the project. Ray? She was managing it. If that was written here is true, it means that she tried to hide the theft from me. And moreover, the details were leaked somehow. I don't believe it. You need to read this article very carefully.
Objection!
What? Okay, I lost and I reloaded and I was guessing, so poison.
No, there's one possibility. One very good reason why the defendant might... Oh, okay, that makes sense. Why the defendant might have decided to withdraw the knife from the victim's wound. What? Huh. The yokel not only has a poor grasp of the law, but is also a poor loser. Tell us then, what possibility do you think you've identified? It's here, in this newspaper article. An article about a deadly poison having been stolen from the laboratory at the Imperial Yuma The victim perished from a stab wound. Poison has no relevance in this case. But...
Prosecutor Ouchie, you will let the defense speak.
But the newspaper article... The court cannot rely on that kind of hearsay those wretched publications carry.
Counsel for the defense. I am going to need some tangible basis for your claim. You will indicate to the court precisely what part of the newspaper article mentioned affirms your assertion.
Your Excellency. Yes, of course. Thank you. Ray would have never done something to further endanger Miss Brett's life without just cause. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife from the victim's body is explained in the article where it says... Deadly in tiny quantities. The article reveals the following property about the poison in question. When the toxin enters the body on a knife laced with the poison, it's rapidly absorbed and causes the death in minutes.
Are you suggesting...
If the knife used to attack Miss Brett was laced with this very poison, it would explain why the defendant, Membami-san, would have withdrawn the blade as soon as possible. Yes, the truth is... It was an attempt to stop the poison from entering the victim's body. What?
Objection!
This is complete and utter nonsense! Not at all. The defendant withdrew the knife blade from the victim's body not to accelerate the woman's demise, but to save her life, and the prosecution cannot deny the possibility. Have you not read the postmortem report? The cause of death was hemorrhage. The word poison appears nowhere in the document. The eyes, the constricted eyes. Well, that's because by acting quickly to remove the blade, the defendant prevented the poison from taking hold. Oh, please. This is clearly desperation. The weasel's lost breaking of wind. Poison has nothing to do whatsoever with this case, as I believe the defense is well aware. We have no proof that the information in this wretched newspaper article is all reliable anyway.
In that situation, what the student should have done is wait for medical assistance to arrive. But instead, you claim she suspected poisoning and took the potentially lethal decision to remove the blade. She must have had a strong reason for her suspicions then, or the argument makes no sense.
Exactly. Well put, Inspector. On what grounds did she do it? Yokel?
Why did Ray suspect that the stolen poison was involved? If you want grounds, I'll give you grounds.
What? You can't possibly. Yeah, what are we doing? Inside the pen, right?
From your expression, counsel, it appears those are not empty words. But naturally, as you stand in this courtroom as a lawyer, you must be aware that words alone, empty or not, are of no value in modern justice system. The court demands evidence.
Yes, Your Excellency. I'm well aware of that. I've seen it many times from my place at his side in Old Bailey.
In that case, counsel, you will present the proof to the court now. What evidence demonstrates a clear link between this case and the poison in the newspaper article?
That's the only thing I have left! Present!
Take that!
Oh dear God. I would like to ask the court to refer to the notes section of the postmortem report, which reads... Extreme meiosis... Oh, wait, oh my god, I said it, I didn't even present as evidence. Extreme meiosis, pupil constriction was observed in the victim. Ah! Clearly, being a yokel with no knowledge of forensic science, I have no idea, so please, do tell me. Presumably, the fact that this condition of the victim was noted in the postmortem report means that it's an unusual symptom of death, correct? Well...
Under normal circumstances, the pupils dilate when someone dies. If there are extreme constriction instead, that's most certainly unusual, yes.
What are you doing, you yokel detective?
In the newspaper article, there's the following information about the stolen poison. Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death.
What?
If the defendant, upon seeing the victim stabbed in the back, happened to notice that the pupils of Miss Brett's eyes had constricted severely. Yes, as a medical research assistant, she would have suspected poison immediately, without doubt.
Yeah.
Prosecutor Ouchie, I think you'll agree. This is very, very compelling evidence.
You yokel student and yokel professor.
I believe the defense has expertly demonstrated a credible reason for the defendant's actions.
No.
Yujin Mikotoba. Yes, Your Excellency. I believe you're best placed here to confirm or deny the veracity of the defense's counsel argument.
What?
You will tell the court the truth about the details reported in this newspaper, please. It pains me to have to admit it, but I'm afraid I don't know. You don't know? The toxin was kept under lock and key in my lab, certainly, but I was unaware of any theft. Do you mean to tell the court that the reports of this theft are unfounded? No, Your Excellency. Without returning to the lab to investigate myself, I couldn't say.
Huh. Listen to that bumbling academic. Unaware of the theft of secret state research from his own workplace until he reads it in a newspaper.
Sorry, Father. I take full responsibility for my incompetence of my supervision. Father!
A pitiful situation for a university professor. You should have more control of your students, rather than allowing them to go off on killing sprees.
Objection. That's totally unfounded. Wait, who yelled hold it? Ray? Ray.
And you know what? This is where we're gonna stop. See you all next time. Laters.